the Honorable Minister of Education, all the other ministers, the Chancellor of Makerere University, the Vice Chancellor, the academicians, members of the diplomatic corps, and the graduates of Makerere. First of all, I congratulate everybody, the academicians, the graduates, on the 72nd graduation ceremony of Makerere University. Congratulations. Secondly, I congratulate Makerere University on the 100 years of existence. An institution like Makerere is very important in the history of Uganda, in the history of our society. It is a pity that the traditional chiefs had not bothered to learn about modern education. It is true that we are deep inland in the continent of Africa. However, it is clear that for many years, from the time of Vasco da Gama, people with new knowledge were coming by the East African coast. Remember, Vasco da Gama passed there in 1498. And he even attacked Mombasa on the way to India. Since that time, these Europeans were coming and passing by Zanzibar, especially, Bagamoyo, and so on. It was therefore clear that some new people with new knowledge, new ways of doing things, were coming to Africa. The traditional leaders should have taken trouble to discover more about these people who had new technology, like the gunpowder. At that time, that was the main one, so that they learn, and if necessary, copy them. However, in their self-glorious self-deception, they never bothered. Until 1862, when Huntington Speke came here, physically. But even then, it took some years. It was not until 74, when Stanley came here and again talked with Mutesa, that Mutesa wrote a letter to Europe, inviting people to come and teach religion. Indeed, the missionaries came, the Church of Uganda people, the Church Mission, CMS, came in 1877, and the Roman Catholics in 1879. Unfortunately, they came with their own confusion, transporting their conflicts in Europe between the Catholics and the Protestants to our country here, plus the rivalry with the Muslims. And that caused so much suffering for some years. But eventually, some new learning started taking place, starting with the missionary schools like Budo, Kisubi, and so on, Namagunga, and eventually culminating into Makerere in 1921. That's why we are celebrating the 100 years. Now, this institution, although it was set up by the colonial government, mainly for their own interests, nevertheless, over time, we have benefited from this modern education, especially in the sciences. Uganda has definitely benefited from Makerere. Initially, we benefited from medicine. Makerere started training doctors very early. You remember some of those first graduates like Mzee Kiseka and the others started supporting health in Uganda. Not only treating and preventing diseases, but also doing research in medicine. Makerere is famous for some medical research. Initially, there was some division of labor in East Africa with Makerere training people in medicine, Nairobi training people in engineering and veterinary. Dar es Salaam was training lawyers. But in 1970, when the university colleges became independent universities, they started training all the other disciplines. And Makerere has been able to train people in veterinary medicine, engineering, the basic sciences. Makerere was training those even from the very beginning, because I remember graduates from here would come and teach biology, teach chemistry, teach physics in the secondary schools, the basic sciences. So we have gained a lot from Makerere University, especially in the field of science. I am now working with many Makerere graduates in the field of vaccines. Initially, there was some little problem, I don't know, maybe of attitude, which I discussed with our friend, Professor Ponciano Okalebu of the Virus Institute, who said they were doing collaborative research. Collaborative research with whom and why? That they were doing collaborative research with Oxford and all those people. Why do you collaborate with others? Why don't you do yourself, for yourself? Fortunately, we have now agreed with Ponciano and all the others that we must do the research for ourselves, not collaborate with others, so that they are the ones we are the ones who do the research for Ebola, but the vaccine comes out in the name of some other people, the Ebola vaccine. So now, the graduates of Makerere are working with us to produce our own vaccines of human beings. Engineering, you have seen our people of Makerere producing automobiles, the electric car, vet vaccines, Dr. Kahwa with the vaccine for anti-ticks and the other professors. Food science, I must also take credit, because when I came into government, I insisted on starting a food science faculty at Makerere University. Because it was not there, I said, no, you must start a food science faculty. And it started. And the products are already doing wonderful work. Dr. Muranga, Dr. Chamhangire, and all the others, they are doing wonderful work. Agriculture, Dr. Sebunya Kibirige revolutionized, and his group revolutionized agriculture by getting the new clonal coffee, which yields 5 times more than the old coffee. So I salute, as a witness, I salute the contribution of Makerere University to the unfolding scientific revolution in Uganda. We are going to support these scientists to get Uganda out of dependency, to get Africa out of dependency, and modernize our society. Now, coming to the social sciences, I think there we need some more discussion. There are lawyers, many lawyers who have been trained from Makerere University. They still put on wigs. I don't know why they put on wigs, even when it is so hot and so what. But then, in the 1960s, we had some tug of war with the social scientists of Makerere, led by Professor Mazurui. They were pushing a certain line of social science, especially in politics. And Dr. Sulma there should be one of the people to discuss that, which was not clear when it came to the African liberation, because Africa had been colonized, and we had to clear it of these foreigners. And we had differences with the social scientists of Makerere at that time. When we came into government, I contacted the Makerere social scientists, Dr. Mujaju and others in Sebambi, and with Mujaju we tried to develop a common position on political economy. Now eventually that interaction evolved into what they call development studies, which was not exactly what some of us wanted, because I wanted a clear line on political economy to discover the laws that govern the motion of society. That one we need to discuss more. I even visited Makerere, discussed with the professors of history who were there. I think one of them was called Chirumira and others. We need to harmonize with the social scientists of Makerere on the issue of liberation of the third world and the other related topics. Of course, Makerere has made contribution in areas like music, dance, and drama. I used to see their graduates, very good. They have got a good foundation. But on the side of history and political science, we need to harmonize. So therefore, being in government, it has been my pleasure to always push for the funding of Makerere, of the universities, of the public universities. We were able to be innovative along the way, because at one time the admission was only 2,000 each year, because they were admitting those to be funded by the government. In that particular year, I don't remember which year exactly, but I remember the figures very well. 11,000 Ugandans had got the minimum 2 principles for admission into university. That was during the time of the Honorable Amanya Mushega, when he was Minister of Education. And the idea was that they admit only 2,000. How about the 9,000 who qualified? They are not part of the 2,000. so they can't be admitted. We said no. I said no. If they can pay for themselves, let them be admitted. Yes, we pay for the 2,000, but if the other 9,000 can pay for themselves, let them pay. That's how the whole thing started. I think we were the first in East Africa to have that self-sponsorship approach. And we have seen what explosion it has caused in terms of university enrollment. So we have been, on the one hand, funding directly from the government, but also using these other innovations like that one of self-sponsorship to broaden university education. And we shall continue. We have insisted on giving good salaries to government scientists, including science teachers in the government universities and also in secondary schools. This is not because we have forgotten the social scientists, the arts people. No, not at all. But because we can't handle everything at a go, we have decided to start with the scientists. The reason we insist on science is that science is the base of socio-economic progress. The invention of fire caused big changes in society. The domestication of crops caused big changes in society. The domestication of animals caused big changes in society. The invention of iron caused big changes in society. The invention of gunpowder caused so many changes in the world for good and for evil. So science is really the base of socio-economic transformation. The scholars of social science, economists, philosophers, try to understand, they are students of social change. But the trigger of social change is science. So I really appeal to Ugandans and maybe other Africans to understand this. When Africa was colonized, it's not that we lacked kings. We had plenty of rulers. It's not that we lacked musicians, people who could sing, and clowns in the court who were making the chiefs laugh, whom we could call comedians, because comedians are now big. It's a big business in the world. All those people were there. Magicians, priests, they were all there. But what Africa lacked was science. That's why Africa was colonized. It was not that we were cowards. It was not that we were not clever. It is that science was not emphasized. What was emphasized were these other actors. And this is the mistake I don't want us to repeat. We must emphasize science because it is the base. All the other things are important. For instance, the contribution by Adam Smith, there's no doubt that his contribution was very crucial in terms of studying and analyzing what will make man work better. Man will work better if he works for himself, for selfish interests, private stakeholders, they will work better. That's a very important observation. But he was observing things already happening in society. The student should not replace the doer. The doer is the base the other people are part of what we call the superstructure. So I congratulate Makerere on 100 years, on all the achievements, and we are ready to interact with Makerere on the other areas which I've just touched on. There was some little issue about the fence of Makerere University. I've made sure that in this budget of next July, that fence will be dealt with. Very sorry about waiting, because we were sitting here with Mama Janet from 10 o'clock. I don't know who was delaying the connection. I have got a group of people here who worked very hard. I don't know whether they are graduates of Makerere or what. And I don't know what was happening on the other side. But anyway, we have now succeeded. We have communicated with you. I was about to drive myself to come to Makerere if they had not solved it within the 30 minutes I had given them. But it's good. We had wanted to come, but I spoke with Professor Nawangwe in the morning, and I said, when I come with all these security people. They interfere with the celebratory mood of the university. So why don't we communicate through the virtual? But it was delayed. But fortunately, it has now opened up. And I wish you good luck and happy celebration. Thank you very much.